a lot of prosumers or a lot of people are using Ubiquiti network or Unify network equipment. Today we'll be looking at how it can be integrated inside Home Assistant. And yes, we'll be looking at the standard Ubiquiti integration, but there is also one nice gem that I really recommend for all of you that have Wi-Fi network from Ubiquiti. We'll start in a couple of seconds. As I said, Ubiquiti has very nice internal Home Assistant integration, and it has it for a long time, since the version 0.81. This is the pre-whatever numbering we are currently using. Only 6.7% of the people are using this integration, and I'm not sure if this is the overall number of people that have Ubiquiti or Unify network, or that simply people use that equipment but are not using the integration itself. The good thing about this integration and also the HACS integration we'll be looking at a little bit later down the road is that both of them are local push, meaning that no cloud is necessary for this as we are using our on-premise controller. So yes, you need also a Unify network controller. What can you do with the Unify network integration Home Assistant? Really a lot of things, maybe even more than we should really need to have inside Home Assistant. You can disable or enable the access point, disable or enable firewall rules, port forwarding, block accounts, etc. etc. How simple is it to set up the integration, the internal one? Very easy. In the integrations page, click on Add Integration, type in Ubiquiti, click on Unify Network, and the wizard will pop up. But you still need one more thing, and that one more thing is the local admin account. So let's go into Ubiquiti controller and create it there. In the settings, system administration, you have a list of all the administrators. I already have my main account, I also have my Home Assistant, this is the production environment account, and now I will create a separate account just for this recording setup. Add new admin account, type in the email, type in the username. We will tick the box set admin password because we will not be receiving mail here. As for the role, there are a couple of roles that you can select. You have View Only, Site Administrator and Hotspot Manager. Actually, for the HACS integration, I think that you only need to have Hotspot Manager, but for some other functions inside Home Assistant or internal integration from Home Assistant, you do need Site Administrator. Without Site Administrator, you cannot, for example, play with the ports, or close them, or reset the device, etc. etc. So we'll leave this at Site Administrator. And in terms of site permissions, you can leave them as is, but actually we will not be using dashboard editing, we will be using only system stats and pending devices. Click on Invite. The new account has now been created, but we are using temporary password, and because of that we will need to at least once log in with that temporary password. Type in the username, password. Remember, this is the new account we just created. Click on Sign In, and then once again under the Settings, System Administration, click on this account, actually this new account that you've just logged into, and change the password. Let's leave everything as is and click Save. We are now ready to use that account inside Home Assistant, and we will also be using this same account later for the HACS integration. Type in the host IP address or full qualified domain name if you have a fully qualified domain name, username that we've created, password for it, and port. My port is 8449. If you have a valid SSL certificate that can be authenticated, you can tick the box next to Verify SSL Certificate. Click on Submit, and this should be it. These are all devices that have been now pulled inside Home Assistant from Unify Controller. These are the end devices, but we also have Ubiquiti devices. For example, this is the main integration, my switch, other switch, and access points. Click on Finish, and if we click on the Unify network icon, we can see that we have 33 devices, 4 services, and 156 entities. That's also one of the problems with the Unify integration inside Home Assistant. For example, I have over 300 devices on my setup, 4 services, and a ton of the entities. Let's click on Devices. And here I want to show you just one thing, because this is maybe something that you are looking for, and that is how to share your guest Wi-Fi account. There is already built-in feature inside Ubiquiti and also Home Assistant that makes it very easy for you to share your guest account. Let's go to the Wi-Fi networks. These are the 3 that I have. I have my IoT, main and guest network. If I click on any of them, but actually we'll be clicking on the guest network, we can see that it is currently enabled, and we can also disable it, and we can see also that currently no devices are attached to that network. But we also have two hidden entities. One is this one here, where we are able to press the button and regenerate the password for that network, and the other one is the QR code itself. Let's enable both of them. And it will take a couple of seconds for the entities to get populated, but after they are populated, we will get this. As I said, now we have a button that we can press to regenerate the password, and this will replace the current Wi-Fi password for the guest network. And we also have this QR code that we can click, and this image can be used by any of your guests. They can scan it and they can get access to your guest Wi-Fi network. When you think that too many people already know and have access to your network, you can simply press the button, regenerate the password, and then have new QR code that you can share once again with people and rinse and repeat. Since this is an image entity, you can also show it inside the UI. For example, if you have tablet on the wall, anybody that needs guest access can scan the QR code on the tablet on the wall and have access to your network or outside internet through your network. But this is very simple Wi-Fi sharing. That means that anybody can use it, anybody has unlimited access, and you have no control of how long people can stay attached to a Wi-Fi network, what traffic they can consume, etc. etc. For that we'll be using HACS integration. But before we jump into that, let's also look at other things that you can do. Remember, I'm not using Unifi router, I'm not silly to keep all my eggs inside my basket, so my router is different manufacturer from Ubiquiti, and I only am using switches, couple of them, and also access points. If we scroll down to the devices, you can see that I have a couple of access points, network, and also a couple of switches. If I click on Unifi network, I will see no entities here. But this is the main integration. If, for example, you have router or some other device from Ubiquiti, then you can probably have some other entities here too. As for the switches, this one is a simple switch. I can see if it is up to date, I can restart it, what network it is attached to, state, MAC address, uptime information, and also disabled, but I can enable to see how many devices are connected via that specific switch. Same goes for the 16-port switch, but I can also here power cycle the devices because yes, this is also PoE switch. And good thing is that we also can see here the names of the devices. For example, my access point 6 Lite is connected on this port, long range on this one, my mini switch on this port, and I can see and recycle the device that is attached to the PoE network. But besides that, I also have additional information, and that is that same network that is attached, CPU, memory utilization, MAC address, uptime, plus a couple of other hidden entities, clients, how many clients are connected to that switch, and also the power usage for each of the ports. Similar data can be seen for access points, configuration, where you can restart the device, diagnostics, no matter what type of access point you have. But as I said, this is just the additional information. What I want to show you is the HACS integration. Let's go to HACS. Type in the search field Unify and click on Unifi Hotspot Manager. Click on it and we will download. The latest version at the time of the recording is version 1.3.1. Click download, and since this is integration, we will need to restart Home Assistant. But before we do that, what actually is this one here? This is very similar but completely different than the QR code we have inside the internal Home Assistant integration. This one is called Voucher. What is Voucher? Voucher is a similar thing that you can get, for example, in the hotels, bars, when you visit expo centers, or somewhere else where you get access, but temporary access to the network. Each voucher can have different number, different expiry date, but also be throttled in terms of speed and also data that you can transfer via the Wi-Fi network. And why is this a good thing? Because it allows you to share guest Wi-Fi network, but only temporarily. For example, if guest stays at the dinner, you can set the expiry for 5 hours and hope he leaves before that. After Home Assistant has restarted, once again we will go to integrations page. As you can see, we already have Unifi network. This is the original Home Assistant internal integration, but we will now add the HACS one. Click on Add Integration, type in Unifi, and click on Unifi Hotspot Manager. At first, it may seem that this is the wrong integration because we have the same login screen, but yeah, we once again need to fill in the same data. IP address, username, password, and also port. And also, once again, if you have a valid certificate, you can tick the box to verify the SSL certificate. Click on Submit. Now we have to fill in some of the information. It has detected that I have guest network called BT Guest. How many vouchers should be created? 1. How often should a voucher be usable? 1 time. 0 is for unlimited use, or for example 10, so that the same voucher can be used 10 times. Next, how long should the voucher be valid? 24 hours. And then also you can set up the limits. How much data traffic should be available per voucher, how much upload bandwidth should be available per voucher, and how much download bandwidth should be available per voucher. If you leave zeros, it means it's unlimited. Also, you can tick this box so that new vouchers will be automatically created after the old voucher is used. And also, if you want to set the background for QR code, you can set it here with the path. I would really recommend that you use /config/www path because that path is already exposed to Home Assistant. Click on Submit. Select an area for it. We now have new integration. This one is old one or the internal one, and this one is new one. If we click on it, we can see that we have one device with 10 entities. If you want to change settings or configuration, click on Configure and you can redo everything. For example, later on you may add this path if you haven't added it during the initial setup. Let's click on Device. Here you can control and create or delete voucher. This is the voucher number. In the configuration section, you can enable entities that are currently hidden. This is the duration, quota, download bandwidth, upload bandwidth, and data limit. And also in diagnostics, we can update everything and also see or enable the QR code. Click on Cogwheel, enable, OK, and that's it. Click on the QR code, and this is the QR code for the guest network. It will enable your guests to connect to the network, and then they will need to enter this voucher number. This can look a bit overcomplicated, but it really will put an extra layer on your network so that obsolete users do not have any more access to your network. And by the way, if you are wondering how this looks, if you go to the settings, Wi-Fi, and open the guest network, you may see Hotspot Portal that is currently enabled. And if you click on it, you will see a preview of how this Hotspot Portal looks. For me, it looks like this. In terms of authentication, I have currently enabled password, but I can also enable voucher. And that way, anybody can access the voucher or password to access the network. Of course, it would be recommended to use voucher only, disable password, and that way only people with valid voucher codes will be able to use your network for a specific period of time. And if you're wondering where the vouchers are located, if we go to the voucher section, you can see that this one was Home Assistant generated. This is the code, expiration, single use, and it has unlimited data download and upload settings. And if you add it to the UI, it may look something like this. We have the QR code that somebody can scan, we have the voucher code that can be copied, we can refresh or create a new one. And by adding this to the main screen, anybody that needs access can simply get the data from the UI. But I also mentioned the service calls. If we go to the developer tools and actions, since services are now actions, and if we type Unify, there are some services that are internal Home Assistant Unify services, for example, reconnect client and remove client. But as I said, we have also Unifi Voucher, where we can create voucher, delete voucher, list all vouchers, or update voucher. For example, list, perform action, it will give us the list of all the available vouchers. Or Unify, delete, we copy the ID from the list and perform action, delete that voucher. If we now check once again the list, we only have one valid voucher. And as I said, this is an awesome way how to improve on your guest Wi-Fi network, of course, if you are using Unify equipment. So while I may not be happy with the equipment and setup that I have, a lot of money has went into it, a lot of tears in setting everything up, but still, when I already have it, this is a nice way for me to share the codes with my daughter's friends when they arrive and everybody needs Wi-Fi access. But as always, before you install any HACS component, I really do recommend that you check out the documentation, and also don't forget to thank the author by clicking at least star if you are not already going to sponsor him or buy him a beer. And by the way, how do I check each and every integration? Besides just installing it, before I install it, I also go to the issues, where I check all the open issues, currently only one, feature request, and also closed issues, to see if there are any potential problems or issues and how they are solved. So thank you, Marcus, for creating this awesome HACS integration, and I really do hope that a lot more people will be using it in the future. And that's it. I really do hope that you did find this video interesting. And if you did find it interesting, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, because it really means a lot to me, but it really also helps with the YouTube algorithms. If you have any kind of a comment or a question, as always, you can post it down in a comment section below, and I really would like to hear your opinion. Are you using Unifi Network? Have you seen this integration? And will you be implementing this guest type of access? Also, don't forget that if you do find any jam in HACS, I really would like to hear what you have found, so post it down in a comment section below too. And before I end up the video, I also would like to say thanks to all those wonderful people that are supporting me and that have become YouTube channel members. Thank you all for all of your support. But let's not forget each and every one of you who has watched, shared, commented or liked my videos. Thank you. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below and becoming a YouTube channel member for only €2 or $2 per month. Or you can go to my merchandise store and get some of the old merch I have there. And last but not least, you can always send me super thanks, and I will be super thankful for that. I'll be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have fun.